is an incredibly informal, very relaxed Saturday introduction, so we're not doing anything strenuous. Well, actually, the singers are. But just to say a little bit about who we are. My name's Carol Watts, and I run the Poetics Centre at Birkbeck, and I've been working on this Voiceworks programme and developing it since 2006. And in fact, Julian and I and William Rowe and others were there from the outset and had to dream it up from not knowing what we were doing and how we would collaborate to the empire that it is today. But the thing about Voiceworks, just to talk from my position as someone working with poets at Birkbeck, is it's one of the most satisfyingly, generatively rich things to be part of that I have in my whole 20 years of experience at Birkbeck. I have anything to do with. And what's exciting about it is not just that you discover all sorts of things, and I think this is true for everybody about their own practice as a singer or a composer or a poet, but that it opens up all kinds of doors, that people carry on working, producing new work, that we can use it to investigate ideas, that we learn really from the ground up what collaboration is really about. And it's very unusual from our perspective because I think otherwise, certainly for the poets, we'd never really come across the world of the composers and the singers in this kind of way, and certainly not work with composers and singers from the outset. So there are times on this programme when I will sit there and get goosebumps, and I don't really want to find words for it, just because of the encounter with different kinds of voice and practice. So I'm going to be suggesting through the weeks ways of developing things. We're very, very keen to put you up on the Voiceworks site, which I hope everybody's had a look at. You will all have an individual profile on the Voiceworks site. And you don't just see that as some kind of promotional, professional profile, though that's kind of what it is. It's actually a resource, it's a place to put stuff up. We're interested to see where you take Voiceworks in the future. And quite a few people, and the teams that sort of come together on the programme have carried on working. There are quite a few people who are continuing to do new work in song and other media, and because of the way they met here. So we're hoping that that's also going to be true for all of you in different ways. No pressure. And so, yeah, Julian, do you want to say a few words about what you've done?
Yes. So I'm Julian Phillips, Head of Composition at Guildhall. I mean, in a way, I just feel like I need to say the same thing all over again because I just sort of endorse everything that Carol's saying. This project has really sort of blossomed in the most incredible way, and just to chime in with where you got to, in a way, the thing that's most exhilarating, really, is to see how many of the collaborative relationships that this project has facilitated have gone on to do other projects. So I can think of straight away one of my students who did this project and is now in his final year of a doctorate research project looking at television opera, working with the same writer he worked with on this project however many years ago it was. So it's turned into this amazing space for generating new work, and very exciting, diverse, challenging, provocative, inspiring new work. And from the composer's perspective, all the composers on this project are doing our first year of the master's course, and that course is very project driven, and also at the heart of it is quite a strong collaborative sort of track. So we also have another project with London Contemporary Dance School where the composers are paired up with choreographers. This project, when we sort of talked around it in the early stages and as it's evolved, I think one of the things certainly myself and a colleague, Richard Baker, have really wanted to encourage is, from the composer's point of view, is to have a very dynamic relationship with text. Because too often as composers, I think if you set a piece of text by a long dead poet, the text isn't going to ask you, is not going to challenge decisions you make or ask provocative questions, and the relationship can be very, almost sort of passive. And so what's been so exciting is to really facilitate very dynamic collaborative relationships between poets and composers, and of course, crucially, singers. Because I know from my own work that when I'm working on a vocal piece, if I've had close contact with a singer, if I've had lots of conversations, if bits of material have been put under a singer's nose in the middle of writing it, the piece is always better for it. Because writing for voices is so seemingly simple, but in practice so complex. Because every singer is a different instrument, and you need to know that instrument before you write for it. So that's been a very strong part of this too. And similarly, it's been interesting to see composers and singers go on and do other stuff as well. So it's sort of the tentacles that have come off this are incredible, which has sort of got me onto voices. So I'm going to have
singers. My name's Armin Zanner. I'm the deputy head of the vocal department at the Guildhall. And yes, the work that's produced, the new works that are produced from this project are obviously the exciting outcome, but the whole process, certainly from the singer's point of view, is a very exciting part of the whole scheme. Singers tend to work in a tradition, they tend to be working with material, as Julian is saying as well, with composers, working with material that has existed for a long time and is it has a certain dryness on paper, and here the singers and the composers and the poets are thrown together. The singers are going to be working with you to produce something completely new and experience the whole process from the start.
I think just to say a few things then about how we're going to proceed over the next few weeks. At the end of the session